This is Flexibility Week. This is when I'm kind to you week. It's not the red mat. We're gonna do Spinal Awakening. My body felt like it needed that today. Normally Mondays we do gentle yoga all day long, but this is pretty, it's not like intense hardcore super high intense vinyasa style yoga. It's going to be a really deep opening of the spine. We do use props in here. I know a lot of my yogis have props at home. I do have some wheels coming. Most of all of my props are spoken for, except for some straps and the head pad, and I have some lacrosse balls. I can order more mobility kits. But if you want to go along with us and do everything that we do, having the props are going to be so beneficial to you. That's what we use when we're in here in class. That's what I provide for you. That's what kind of sets our studio apart from a lot of other studios, is everything that we offer you. We believe that mobility work is very key to opening up the body into a deeper stretch, a deeper opening of the body that's way less aggressive than just forcing yourself into a stretch. When we can release the tension in the muscles and we can let some lactic acid go, then that makes the muscles want to comply. So I will be using props today. I will try to give you some options to do if you don't have the props at home. So let's start centering. Start to pull the thoughts in, start to close out the clutter from the craziness that's going on in the world. Just retreating to your mat for some sanity, tuning into yourself, tapping into that breath. Let it calm the brain down, let it calm the body down. Starting our exhale, everything in and out through the mouth. Inhale, Ujjayi breath, pulling with the throat. Air comes in through the mouth, but the lips are closed. It actually comes in through the nose, but the pulling action is through the throat. The belly is expanding. Exhale, pull the belly back in. Inhale, expand that belly again. Widen the ribs. Exhale, close the ribs. Pull the belly back in. Inhale, expand the belly. Widen the ribs. Pull the air all the way up into the chest. Exhale, drop the chest. Pull the ribs in. Pull the belly in. One more breath together like that. Inhale, belly first. Expanding those ribs. Up into the chest. And exhale. And we're going to open up the psoas. So part of opening up the spine is understanding a little bit better about the anatomy of your body. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to talk as we do this. It's a time saver because we're on the psoas for quite some time. So if you have one ball at home, you can do one side at a time. You can pause the video and then come back to it when you get the psoas done. If you have two at home, we're going to do them at the same time. I was thinking about things that you can use if you don't have props. You can use like a cake pan. Turn the cake pan upside down. Place the balls there. Books, anything like that. It's going to be helpful. If you're new to this and you haven't seen my mobility class, if you wrap your hands around your hip bones right where the fingertips push in, You've got that soft tissue that's right around there on the side of the pubic bone, inside the pelvis bone, and then underneath the ribs. So this whole area right here is what we're focusing on. So the psoas is at the back of the pelvic bowl. That's why we have to linger here for a little bit. So place that in place. And then try not to stay up here like this because it doesn't allow enough pressure for that to creep up into your pelvic bowl like it needs to. Let that chest rest all the way down on the blanket. So when opening up the spine, when you think about if you have really good mind-body connection, you're paying attention to everything that's being recruited as we stretch and go into postures, everything that's being utilized and used. And sometimes that takes time. So in order to get a nice, good spinal opening, you have to have hip flexors that are open, your psoas needs to be open, the tops of your thighs need to be open, shoulders need to be open, and so otherwise your back bend is going to struggle. We're looking to get the back up straight. It's not that maybe your goal isn't to do a deep back bend, but we want the most mobility through our spine that we can get. And so when all the other muscles are tight in our body, it draws our spine forward. If your hip flexors are tight and your thighs are tight, your spine's going to draw forward. And so we want to loosen that up so that we can have a nice posture so that we don't develop that hunch on our back and we start to keep our spine straight. We get a better twist. You'll notice things like that, more mobility, like in everyday life, like when you're driving in a car and you need to look over your shoulder. That might be a struggle and you may not have noticed that before. But once you get more mobility in that spine, then you'll see that that will happen with a little bit more ease. So it's just being able to function a little bit better in everyday life. We're going to be here for a few more breaths. So relaxing into that as much as possible. We're working through that surface tissue so those balls can creep up into the pelvis area and access the psoas, which lies at the back of your pelvic bowl. I have a sneaky suspicion there's been a lot of sitting going on lately, a lot of binge watching on Netflix or just kind of sitting around a lot. And I know not everybody's off work, but there are people who do have sit-down jobs as well. That is one of the worst things for your body is long periods of sitting because everything tightens, and when everything tightens, muscles and tendons shorten. And so we need to keep lengthen that, and that requires standing and stretching and lengthening our muscles. So interrupting that seated position about every 30 minutes, and it's not like you have to be up for long periods of time, it's just breaking that up and not sitting there for very long. I always encourage my yogis too to get on the floor and do some of this mobility work while you're watching TV. You might as well do something good for your body while you're watching TV. Let's take a long breath, your longest breath. So let's exhale everything out. Once that belly is empty, you're going to start your longest breath. Count to a particular number, and then when you exhale, you're going to exhale that same number. So we're going to take one out, and you can stay on top of whatever you're on, the blocks or kick pan or books or whatever it is, or you can take it all out and just be on the floor. We're going to place this on our hip flexor, which is the very, very top of our thigh, and right where our hips hinge, right in that crease, that area right there is what we're working. So we're gonna place that ball right there, and we're gonna work side to side. Shifting the hips side to side. We're not rolling front to back. We're rolling side to side. I just noticed I forgot to get my foam roller out. I'm gonna have to leave the screen for a second and grab a foam roller. So if there's anything that you don't have prop-wise, think about ways you can modify it. As far as the foam roller goes, you can roll up a firm blanket. You don't want a soft, squishy blanket. You want a firm blanket. And you can use that to roll back and forth over. One more breath here. It's not quite the same. It's not going to get the deep tissue massage in those muscles on the back that we're going to work for tonight, but it can help open up the spine itself. And switching sides, tuck the toes, shear the hips side to side. And everybody, I'm sure, has a ball somewhere in their house. You don't want a squishy ball. You want a pretty firm ball. You don't want it too hard, but if that's all you've got, that will work better than a squishy ball will. Softball, baseball, tennis ball, dog toy, something like that. Softball's kind of large. A baseball would be better, but it's still rather hard. A tennis ball is way better. A golf ball will even work. It's a little bit more intense, but it'll work. Taking one more breath here. And release that. Removing the blocks. We're going to grab our peanut. Now, if you only have one ball and you don't have a peanut is the double ball. I have two of those left in the studio. If you're in need of one of these, I have two of these left. If you don't have one of these, you're going to take a smooth ball and you're going to work it on the wall. Try to stay in my screen here. And you'll just like place it right beside your spine, and you'll go up and down right beside the spine, doing both sides. And it's going to take you longer than it will us with a peanut, so you can stop the video and just do this until you get both sides, and you'll just keep working it down your spine, place it in a new spot, up and down, and then you'll work the other side. Those of you that have a peanut, go ahead and grab your peanut. We're going to place it between our shoulder blades. Getting your hair out of the way because it will wrap around that ball or around that peanut and it'll pull it out. So usually up at the top, you don't feel very much, but we always like to work the healthy fascia as well as the unhealthy fascia. Once you start to work it down your back, you're going to start to feel it. So usually everybody pulls their ribs up. Let's sink them back down to the floor. Arms can be over the head. I like mine in front, and I just kind of rock side to side. That allows me to apply a little bit more pressure to each side of the peanut, really working the muscles on both sides of the spine. The lovely thing about the peanut is there's no pressure on the spine itself. The way that the ball is connected, there's space between the two, so it keeps the spine lifted up off of the ball. And so we're working just the muscles that run down the side of the spine. Those muscles get tight and tense, and it draws your back forward. So we're releasing the tension in those muscles here. And when you get done with this, your spine will already feel taller. You'll feel much better. If you're new to this, this can be pretty intense. We have come to enjoy this. It is like heavenly. It's like so therapeutic. It's like a need for the body. Doing this and the psoas every day, your posture will be so much better. Your body will feel better all day long. If you do it before you go to work or before you start your day, you'll feel so much better. You'll function better. It's just a great way to start your day. So as you work down into the lower part of the back, you can start to tip the knees side to side. That gets you a little bit deeper onto each side of the spine and the lower part of the body. always make sure you keep the breath going, nice soft breathing. The breath relaxes the tension in the muscles. If you're holding your breath, you're tensing up and it doesn't let the muscles cooperate, and it actually doesn't feel as good. When you let that breath go, the body feels so much better. So we're just gonna take a couple more breaths here, and we're gonna finish off that low back. Taking one more breath here. And you're going to lift the hips, take that out, squeeze those knees up into the armpits. So you're releasing that low back now when you squeeze those knees in. Now if your head tips back like this, then you're squeezing your knees in too far. If that happens, you can place a blanket under here to lift your head up so you can get the deep squeeze with the knees, or just back off the knees. You want to keep the spine in alignment, the head in alignment with the spine. Roll out those ankles while you're here. Just get some fluid going. You might as well do multiple things while you're in one posture. And rolling that up. If you have a foam roller, go ahead and grab your foam roller. I'm gonna run and get one real quick. Normally we do everything we do on the foam roller, we do side to side mostly. From time to time we'll go front to back, but for my spine class I roll front to back because we're not necessarily focusing just on lactic acid. We just want to relax the muscles. So we're not necessarily looking for knots, we just want tension to be released in the back. So we're going to roll front to back and we're going to start at the top of the shoulders. If you don't have a foam roller, just keep rolling out on the wall with the ball, or you can even do that on the floor. You can get a deeper release in the muscle when you do it on the floor, more body weight on it. So head up, we're going to work the upper portion of the back, elbows wide so it gets the whole span of your back, and we're just going to work from the top of the shoulders to the bottom of the shoulder blades. Keeping the body relaxed as much as possible. So we're just working the upper section a few times. If you want, you can drop the booty and you can roll it side to side if you want to get a little bit more into the ribs. And we're going to move it to the middle of the back. So we're going to go from the bottom of the shoulder blades to the bottom of the ribs. Kind of tuck your chin in a little bit, but still keeping everything nice and loose. Making sure you're not holding breath, letting go of that tension. Taking one more breath here. And we're going to go to the low back. So I like to drop my shoulder blades down toward the floor. You can keep the feet on the floor and tip those knees side to side if you want. I like to bring my knees up and drop my knees side to side, letting my hands catch my knees. Just kind of do whatever feels good to you and your body. We're working those reverse abdominals loose. One more breath here. And just lengthen those legs. So if you don't have a foam roller, you can use a blanket underneath here, a firm blanket rolled up underneath you. And then just open up here, letting the booty sink toward the floor. The hip flexors are opening up. You're feeling a deep opening in that low spine. One more breath here. Sliding those feet up, picking up the booty, Take that out, squeeze those knees back in. So anytime we do a back bend, we bring the knees in or round out the spine to counter that stretch. One more breath here. Rolling that up, we're just going to quickly roll over the thighs, because when we back bend, the thigh needs to be stretched out, and we are going to stretch them out, but it feels much better when we can just quickly roll over this. So this is one of those things, we're not necessarily working out lactic acid, we're just wanting to relax the tension of the muscles, so we are going to roll front to back. Normally we would rock side to side, and that would locate lactic acid, knots in the muscle, which is what we like to release. We do that in our mobility classes, but our focus isn't so much mobility in this one, it is the spine, the opening of the spine. So this, because it connects to it, and this is not our focal point, we're just going to briefly roll over that to just kind of relax the tension in those thighs. And switching sides. One more breath here. And coming off of that, we're going to grab our wheel. We use the wheel in almost every single class that we have except for our Rejuvenate class. And we even use the wheel in our chair classes, not in every chair class, but we do some of that in there. So this is a huge prop for us. We use it all the time. It's very much a part of our practice. So if you want to do this with us, you can. You can fast forward past this part if you don't have a wheel, or you can fold up a blanket and just kind of arch your spine over it just to get your spine opening up. Even laying on a blanket or a firm pillow will open up your spine, because that's what this is doing. It kind of simulates maybe like an inversion table without the stress of hanging from your ankles. So it does like roll out the muscles a little bit, but mainly what it's doing is trying to create some space between the vertebrae. So we're going to center that up on our spine, sliding the feet up underneath us, and start to let your back take the shape of the wheel. If you're new to this, it's pretty intense, but after a while your body will come to love it. So just like this, your neck muscles might be strained a little bit. We want to strengthen those. So we want that to hang back and let those muscles get strong. You can support it like a crunch, but let your head lay in the fingers instead of pulling your chin up like this. We want to keep that spine opening up. So just rolling out different parts of your spine. You want to make sure you hit all of it at some point, but we don't want to keep the booty up high. We want it dropping low, the head hanging back, and your body just drifting over the wheel. So the weight of your body is creating space between the vertebrae. If you feel imbalanced, you can keep those hands on the floor to balance you out. Taking your time, when that head hits the floor, let everything soften. You're opening up through the hip flexors here. If those are really tight, it's going to limit the motion in your back, the range of motion in your back. So soften through there, let your ribs expand, let your belly expand, lengthening everything. Relax in the back, Let your spine take the shape of the wheel. And we're going to roll that back up over the wheel. So take a big stretch first. Dig those feet into the ground. Let your upper body hang super heavy as you drag it to the top. We're going to do that 2 more times. Exhale, sending your head back to the floor again. Taking your breath once the head is down. And then exhale, dragging that back up over the wheel again. One more time. Taking it back. Exhaling it to the top of the wheel. Once you get to the top, you're going to let the upper body hang heavy. Head's hanging back. Ribs are really expanding. Belly stretching out. Opening up of that spine and bringing that booty down to the floor. So that was a deep back bend. We counter those back bends with stretches. And so we're just going to round out the spine. And since we have our wheel, we're going to roll out those shoulders a little bit. Open up in those shoulders. So we just roll that wheel out away from us. Dropping the chest through, the belly through, booty pops up. Let the weight of your body sag through. You can let your head drop through if you want to. You can rock those shoulders side to side. Take a breath, and with your exhale, push your chest through. So now if you don't have a wheel, you can stack up anything right here. It's going to lift your hands up off the floor a little bit and just let your chest drop through, letting your booty stay up. So we're not sinking the booty back to the heels. We're keeping it up and letting your chest drop through. Taking one more breath here. And exhale. And we're going to bring the wheel between our feet. So we're going to really open up that spine now. Open up these hip flexors and these thighs. If you don't have a wheel, you just skip past this part. Once we get past the wheel, everything else you don't need the props for. So you can stay right here on the wheel, sitting the booty back, doing a modified camel pose. This. Or you're going to walk the hands up the backs of the legs, letting the back float down toward the wheel. Once you've connected, you can exhale those arms up above the head, pulling the hips forward, feeling this deep stretch through the thighs and the hip flexors. Relaxing through the head, neck, and shoulders. Letting the breath go. Feeling your body drop deeper into that with every exhale. Taking one more breath here. And nice and easy, draw it up and take a child's pose to counter that back bend. And bringing that up, getting rid of that wheel. Bringing that to the knees. Unless your knees are tender, then you can sit on your booty or you can pad up those knees. Bringing the hands behind the back. Exhale, pop your chest forward. Tip your head back, soften your spine, and pull those hands away from your booty. Taking another breath. And exhale. And rounding that out. We're going to do another stretch. I'm going to turn so you can see what the hands are doing the backs of the hands are gonna be together, sliding down to your arches. So you're grabbing the inner arches of the feet, rolling the shoulders back and down, tipping the head back, and you're gonna exhale, pull on the feet and pull your heart forward, rounding out the spine. I'll show you from the side view in case you're not getting that. Hands on the inside of those arches, dropping the head back, pulling your chest forward, arching the spine, letting that breath go. Take another breath and exhale, pull a little harder on those feet. Round that out. So seated cat-cow. So again, if those knees are tender, just come into an easy seat. Sit on your booty with your legs folded. We're going to exhale, pull the chest forward, and round out the spine. Bring it forward, and round out the spine. Really pull the heart forward, so pull the shoulders behind the chest, pull the heart forward, round out the spine. 2 more times, pulling the heart forward, round out the spine. 1 more time, pull the heart forward. You're tipping the pubic bone up too when you're rounding out the spine. And bringing up center. We're going to take the spine side to side. So I'm going to bring that to a seated position. And we're just moving the rib cage side to side. So we're not tipping the shoulders over. We're just moving the ribs side to side. So our spine moves in all different directions, front to back, side to side. So get some movement going in that spine. As this loosens up, you should feel the ribs pulling over farther and farther. This helps to loosen up those low back muscles. And we're going to circle it around. So the rib cage is going to go around in circles, almost like a belly dance. This is going to massage your internal organs. It's good for digestion. Also is loosening up the spine. Rotate it around the other direction. I don't have very good movement in my spine, so mine's pretty limited. Yours might be pretty loosey-goose. 1 more breath here. And inhaling the left arm up, exhale over. Taking another breath and exhale, reach. 1 more breath and exhale. Inhaling right arm up, exhale over, reaching nice and long. Exhale and reach. 1 more breath and exhale. And inhale up and exhale. We're going to progress in our twists. So your left hand on the inside of your left leg. Right hand reaches behind you. Pop your chest forward. So as you lengthen the arm that's behind you, it's bringing your spine nice and straight. So you're pulling that shoulder back behind you, you're popping your chest forward, and you're going to exhale, you're going to push your left arm into the left leg and twist it around. So you're using this arm as leverage. Take another breath and exhale and twist. If you want that belly twist, take that arm to the right leg, lift it up nice and tall, and twist a little deeper. And release. Right arm on the inside of the right leg, left hand behind you. Pop that chest up, exhale, twist it around. Take a breath. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Taking the arm to the left leg, exhale, twist. And release, deep seated twist. So pull the left foot through. Your knee is straight in front of your belly button, in front of your chest. You're going to step the right leg over. If you have super tight hips, because I know some of our yogis can't access this, their leg is literally like this. That's how tight your hips are. Keep it on the other side. Keep it right where the shin is. Or sit on something, it's going to give you more space in your hips. You can sit on a book, blocks, blanket, something that's going to give your hips a little bit more space. So you're up on that left hip. We want to try to keep the foot flat on the floor, the knee up toward the ceiling. We want to try to get away from this angle here and pull it up as much as we can. So you're either going to hug it in here, so it's not about getting this arm to the outside of the leg. It depends on what your hips are going to allow you to do. One side I feel better hugging, and the other side I feel better with the arm on the outside of the leg. So again, right arm behind you, pop the chest forward, be up on that hip, and exhale, squeezing that knee in, either by squeezing the knee or the elbow on the outside of that knee. So make sure you're not hunching over. We always twist with a nice straight spine, so feel like your heart is pulling forward. Your gaze is in the direction of that back shoulder. We never want to twist with our neck. Our head is just following the twist. Exhale, twist and pull the shoulders. So the twisting action is happening in the shoulders. You're pulling the shoulders back and the belly's twisting out. One more breath. And exhale. And release. Switching sides. So the right knee pulls through. It's right straight in front of you, so we don't want it out here to the side. Want that knee right in front of you. Over on that hip, lifting the chest up nice and tall. So if you feel like your body is struggling to do this, lift up and sit on something and just grab hold of the knee here. Don't try to hug it in here. We don't want your body doing this. That's not very beneficial to you at all. You're struggling too much. We want you to feel good in the pose. So lift it up nice and tall and exhale, looking over the shoulder, twisting in the shoulders. Exhale, twisting out the belly. And exhale, twist open a little bit more. And excuse me. Let's bring that to standing. So, power class, we like engagement of muscles. When I'm having you stand, and you set your intention to your practice, but when I have you stand in mountain pose, I have you engage the triceps. So as you pull the hands back, the triceps are engaged, the pelvis is tipped up, the thighs are engaged, the booty's engaged. In the fluid, the flexibility classes, the week of flexibility that we do, I don't have you focus as much on tensing up through the muscles or tightening the muscles as I do flowy limbs, flowing the body, rounding the spine, fluid movements through the body. That's kind of how, because that's what we want, is we want to limber up and we want to loosen up. We're not so much about gaining muscle this week as we are about stretching the muscle. So feet are hip width apart. Still coming up into a nice straight line though. So you want that good alignment in your spine, but you don't have to plug the fingers into the floor. You're just standing here. Chin is still parallel to the floor to keep your airway open so the air flows nice and soft. I like to pull these hips side to side. Bring it back center, inhaling the arms up, and I like to take an arch. During this whole week, my upward salute will be like this, and exhaling, bending the knees, forward fold. Inhale, sweep it up. Take that big arch. Exhaling, forward fold, bending the knees. Inhale, sweep it up. Take that big arch. Exhale, bending the knees, forward fold. And hang with bent knees. Let the head relax. Start to rock the hips side to side, maybe the shoulders side to side. Find some movement here. We're going to start to open up those hamstrings. You can pedal out the knees, wiggle out the hips, rock the upper body side to side if you want. Bending those knees nice and easy spine. Feeling the spine become loose, limber. Inhaling, arms up, take that arch. Exhaling, forward fold. Folding those arms, letting the forehead rest toward those forearms. Keep a soft knee and rock the upper body side to side. Forward fold, good, strong back, inhaling all the way up. Exhaling, namaste. Turn this way for you, inhaling left arm up, exhale over. Your gaze is up toward the elbow, palm is facing the floor, and you're crawling the right fingers down toward the knee. Left hip is kicking out, feeling the stretch up through those ribs. Take a breath and exhale, reaching up and over. And then on your next breath, make sure this right shoulder's soft. You're going to exhale and just fall into it. A much deeper stretch when you let go. Sliding that hand behind your right thigh, pulling the hips forward, taking the arch, and crawl those fingers down toward the knee. Take a breath. Exhale. Drop into it a little more. Widen those feet if you need to. One more breath. And exhale. And bringing that up. Exhaling. Namaste. Other side. Inhaling right arm up. Exhale over. Now if you get dizzy, back bending, we have some yogis that get dizzy. I believe that's a nerve issue. Take another breath. Exhale, reach up and over. Don't go so deep into that back bend. Maybe not tip your head back as much. Get a nice opening in the spine, but don't try to go too deep. If you feel nauseated, then you should come out of it. Exhale and reach it really low and just drop through. And you're going to slide that hand to the back of that leg. Widen your feet a little bit. Start to arch that back as long as you don't feel dizzy. And make sure the shoulders are rolling back and down. If you're shrugging up in the shoulders, you're not going to get a good arch through your spine. It's when you let the shoulders go that the body drops. Take a breath. Exhale, crawl the fingers down a little more. Pull the hips forward a little bit more. And one more breath. And bringing that up. Exhaling. Namaste. And inhaling all the way up. Exhaling, forward fold. Countering that stretch. That was a deep back bend, so let's hang forward fold for a couple breaths. Inhale, half lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Step that back to plank. Work through that vinyasa, knees or toes, your choice. Pull the heart forward. Pull the pubic bone down toward the floor. If you can lift the knees up off the floor, you're going to get a deeper stretch. Take another breath and exhale. Pull the heart forward a little more. Rolling up over those toes into that down dog. We are going to ripple up through the spine. I'm going to cue you through it. If you need to see it in my body first, you can watch. So nice down dog. We're going to lift up onto the toes so the heels come up, the booty comes up. Rippling up through the spine, shoulders come up over the hands. Start to bring the head up, dropping the pelvis down, pulling the heart forward. Drop the chin, lift the shoulders, ripple up through the spine, booty comes up.
Sink back into those heels. Up under the toes, heels come up, booty comes up, ripple up through the spine, shoulders up over the hands. Start to lift the head, drop the pelvis through, pull the heart through. Drop the chin, shoulders lift, ripple up through the spine, booty comes up, and sink back into those heels. One more time. Up on the toes, heels come up, booty comes up, ripple up through the spine, dropping the chest, pick the head up, heart pulls through. One last time. Chin, shoulders, spine, booty, heels, down dog. Pedal out. Centering the left foot, sweeping the right leg up, lift and bend that knee. Bring the right fingers to fingertips, pull your heart forward. Let your head relax. We're going to let that foot find the floor behind you, pressing up into wild thing. We're going to go back and forth. Do this a few times. Really open the spine. So push through that left hand. Pull your heart up really high. Pull your hips up really high. Bringing the hand down to the floor. Right leg goes up, three-legged dog. Bring it down, exhaling, left leg up. Bend the knee. Left fingers to fingertips. Pull the heart forward. Relax the head. Let the heel hang heavy. Finding the floor behind you softly. Pull the hips up, wild thing. Open up through the heart. Stay strong through the arm. Bringing that hand down, left leg goes back up, three-legged dog. Bringing the foot down, exhaling, right leg up. Lift and bend the knee, that should feel way more open. Pulling your chest forward, hips forward, relax through the head and neck and shoulders. Finding the floor with your foot softly. Pull the hips up, arch through the spine. Bringing the hand down, right leg goes up, three-legged dog. Foot comes down, exhaling, left leg up. Bend the knee. Left finger, fingertips, pull the heart forward, let the heel hang heavy. Find in the floor quietly behind you. Pull up, press up. Wild thing. Yeah, bringing the hand to the floor. Left leg goes up, three-legged dog. And bringing that into your down dog, pedal out. Centering the left foot, sweeping the right leg up. Lift, 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 lift. Bend the knee, pull way up into the chest, plant the foot. Crescent pose. Crescent pose because we want to open up the hip flexor, that back hip flexor. So normally, I have you pull the hips forward. It's going to stretch out that back hip flexor, but I want to really open the spine. So normally I have you take the arch out of the spine so your spine is nice and straight. However, today we're going to pull the belly forward, pull the heart forward, sweep the arms up, sink into the front thigh, look up toward the ceiling as long as you don't feel dizzy, sinking into that front thigh, lengthening the back leg as much as you can. Yogi gun, hands come together, fingers make a gun, and reach long. Bringing those hands down to prayer, we're going to twist it out, taking that left elbow to the right thigh. Prayer hands, elbow up, twist. Looking back toward the hip, twisting in the shoulders. If you want to intensify that, left fingers down, sweeping the right arm up, deeper twist. Hand comes down, step it back to plank, work through that vinyasa. Good down dog form. It's one of our foundational poses. Chest pushing toward the thigh, booty pulls up and back, dropping into the heels, reaching the arms nice and long. Centering the right foot, sweeping the left toes up. Yeah, pulling that knee to the front, planting the foot. Crescent pose. Widen your base for some stability. Sinking into the front thigh, keeping the belly pulling forward, the heart pulling forward, shoulders are behind the chest. Sweep those arms up, sink into the front thigh, lengthen the back leg, let the head relax. Yogi gun if you want, bring the hands together, first two fingers point, and then exhale, arch it back, some more. Sink into the thigh a little bit more. And bring it up, prayer hands. Twisting to the left, so right elbow to the left thigh. Prayer hands, lengthen the back leg and twist, looking back toward that hip if you can, or down toward the floor. You just want to keep the twist in the shoulders going. Exhale, twist, lengthen that back leg. If you want to intensify, right fingers to the floor, left hand twist up. And hand comes to the floor. Take it back to plank. Work through that vinyasa. Really pull the heart through in that up dog. Sink the knees, take it back to a child's pose. And we're going to pull the heart forward, bring it to the belly. Elbows right underneath the shoulders, fingers wide. And we don't want the shoulders up in the ears. We want a nice long spine, the neck lengthening out of those shoulders. Take a breath, and with your exhale, press up from the hands. So the elbows are coming straight up, so the elbows are not winging out. If you want to see this from the front, I think I can get in there. So we don't want wide elbows here. We want to pin back, wide fingers. Actually, the elbows are right underneath the shoulders. Hands shoulder width apart. And then you're pressing straight up. So you're pulling the hinge of the elbow out instead of out this way. We don't want buckled elbows. We want it like this. Lengthen your spine. Let your heart melt forward. Let your belly soften. Let that low back soften. Should feel pretty opened up. Unclench your booty. So no turtlenecking here. Get the neck out of the shoulders. Dropping that back down, so don't wing out the elbows. Keep them pinned. Drop them down. Slide them back a little bit. Pin the elbows to the ribs. Exhale, press up again. Getting a deeper stretch. So you might have felt the pubic bone lifting up off the floor. Now we're going to try to melt it back down. So exhale, pulling it back down toward the floor. Don't let the neck creep down into those shoulders. Keep the hands pressing and the arms lengthening nice and long. Unclench that booty. Bringing that down, sliding the hands back to the chest, pressing up dog. Elbows stay pinned back, pressing up. Sink it back into your child's pose. And a little bit more twisting in the spine. So let's bring it to the belly. We're going to lengthen the right arm out. If you need something to prop your head up, a blanket, something here, we're going to lengthen the arm right straight out of the shoulder socket. So we don't want it up here, we don't want it out here, we want to start here. It may drift depending on the tightness of your shoulder. We're going to rock over onto the right hip. And then your left foot is going to either plant back here or it's going to go straight. This is more intense than this is. You're going to slide that left hand up on the floor by your chest, and you're going to either have the foot on the floor or you're going to let the weight of that leg hang back, and that's going to deepen that stretch. So take a breath and exhale. Use your left hand and push over onto that shoulder just a little bit, getting a nice twist through the spine. Exhale, press over a little bit more. And one more breath. Nice and easy. Roll that back to the belly. And left side. Lengthen that left arm out. Support your head if you need to. Rolling over onto that left hip. Sliding the right hand into the chest. Right foot on the floor. Or exhale. Lengthen the leg and let that hip soften. So the right hip is behind the left one. You're going to take a breath and you're going to exhale using your right hand. Push gently over onto that shoulder, letting that hip fall back a little bit more. Let the breath go. Soften the hip that's in the floor, taking another breath. And exhale, gently press over just a little bit more. And bringing that back to the belly. Release. And bringing that up to the knees. Horse seated position. And let's roll out the shoulders front to back. We're going to do a little bit of back bending before we finish our class. So we're going to start off with hip bridge, and hip bridge might be where you stay today. When I first started doing my back bend, my head was like a magnet to the floor and my back was a board. There was no bend in it whatsoever. And it took me a couple years to get into a back bend. So if that's where you're at today, don't be discouraged, because the spine takes a long time to open up safely, and we want it to open up safely. Never force your spine into anything. So we're going to start with a hip bridge. And so the hip flexors are open, the spine is open. So this should feel pretty good and you should get pretty high. If you have a block or something, you can use that for some support. I'll show you. So let's bring that to our back. Now if you lay your arms beside your body, you can walk your heels up to your middle finger. That's good foot placement, because you don't want your feet too wide and too far away, and you don't want them too close together. You want them about hip width apart. And those heels, right where those fingertips are, is good placement. If you have your legs out too wide, then your hips are not going to get up very high. You need those feet underneath those knees to be able to push you up. So let's rock up onto those arms. So pull the arms underneath. If this is too intense for your shoulders, getting those hands clasped underneath your body, then just keep the arms beside you and keep the palms flat on the floor. And then we're going to take a breath and we're going to exhale, push the feet into the floor, lift the hips, so don't let your knees pop out and your arches lift. Keep your knees straight up to the ceiling and your arches down, and then pull the hands down toward the floor. Take another breath, exhale, push through the feet, lifting the hips higher, rolling up onto the shoulders. Don't let those knees pop open. And one more breath. Exhale, push up higher. If you want, you can tuck the hands underneath the booty, or that's where you can take a block or a prop and set it underneath here to give you a little bit of support. One more breath here. And bringing that down. Now my spine is really open because normally I can barely get my thumbs under there to loop, and I can get all of my fists under there. So my spine is feeling really good. If I would have done that at the very beginning of class, I wouldn't have been able to even get my thumbs underneath my spine. So now we're gonna back bend. So a wall is handy here for new back benders. So you can take blocks, books, whatever you have that's the same height, and push it right up against the wall. So pretend this is the wall right here, and you have your blocks pushed up against them. And I'm going to show you how to do that, because if I turn and do it this way, you're not going to be able to see anyway. I would need somebody to have a camera up to hold that. So pretend the wall is right here. You've pushed your blocks up against the wall. They're enough space for you to be able to have your hands shoulder width apart and your head to be able to be placed between it. Your head does not go all the way back to the wall. You need a gap of about an inch to probably about 2 inches away from the wall. If it's too close, then you're gonna struggle. If it's too far away, you're gonna struggle. So my blocks might slide because I don't have a wall there. And then I would lay my head here, making sure I'm not up where that wall is. My hands go like this on the blocks. So my palms are down, my fingers are on the front of the blocks. Now make sure those feet are where they need to be, pulled up underneath you. And then the blocks will keep, or the wall will keep the blocks or whatever prop you're using from sliding, and then you press up and then push up. My blocks are sliding, so I can't push up as high. So that's how you do it with the blocks from the wall. If you feel good about that and you want to do it from your mat, you should always just try it from your mat anyway. You might surprise yourself. The engagement is pushing through the hands and pushing through the feet and pulling the heart up towards the ceiling, and that'll get your head unstuck. So fingers as close to your shoulders as you can. Out here, you are not going to be able to get your arch in your back very much. You need the range of motion through your shoulders, so that's why the hands need to be here. Make sure you're not pulling your hair. Making sure those feet are up underneath those knees. And then pressing up. Pushing through the hands and lengthen. Bringing that back down, hogging those knees in. We're going to do that one more time. If you are at home, play around with it. Walk down your wall. I'm going to show you walking down the wall. Try a drop back bend. I don't have the mobility in my back. I can't get down far enough to do drop back. But that stretch we did where you can place the hand back here and do a drop back. If you can see the floor, if you're back there and you can pretty much see the floor, you can see where you're headed and you can see how close you are. If you have a person at home spotting you, they can just put a hand underneath you or do this around you and spot you. If you want to walk down, back bend from the wall, that's always fun. You have to keep adjusting your feet out, so as your body starts to bend, if you don't allow your feet to move, you only have so much space in your back. You kind of have to keep walking the feet out as the hands go down. Feet come out a little bit more, hands go down. And you'll see me adjusting. So walking and not letting the hands slide down the wall. I see people doing that a lot, and that's very unsafe because your hands could just slide right down and you can crash on your head. So you want to just walk the hands down the wall. And then transitioning from the wall to the floor. And then pushing the chest toward the wall. And then if you want, You can try to walk that back up the wall, or just drop down and come out of that. Woo, let's take a forward fold. Countering that stretch. One more breath here. We're going to bring it to our back. We're just going to do a nice twist, and we'll finish off in our Shavasana. So laying on your back, right knee comes across the body, right arm lengthens, shoulder blades on the floor, look toward that right hand. Looking toward the hand keeps the shoulder down. A lot of people don't want to look, but if you test it out and you turn your head away from there, the shoulder wants to pop up. Left hand, rest on that right thigh, look toward that hand, and then just let the knee fall. So gravity will pull this leg down. You don't even have to pull on it if you don't want. Soften your left hip that's on the floor. Sometimes we're tensing up because we're trying to balance, but you can just exhale, relax the whole body into it. If you want that deeper stretch, you can exhale and pull the knee closer to the floor. The most important thing is to keep this right shoulder down. If the shoulder's lifting up and pulling up like this, then you're not getting much of a twist. Want to keep it nice and flat, letting that spine twist safely, and release. Lengthening the right leg, lengthening the left arm, right arm on the left thigh, look toward that left hand, and then exhale, let your belly twist out, and the knee falls toward the floor, keeping that shoulder down. And one more breath. Bringing it back to your back. Squeeze those knees in. Give yourself some love. Hug it in. And kicking it out into your Shavasana. I'm going to find my Shavasana song here. I know you can't hear it, but I am going to post the link to the playlist. Kicking the feet out to the corners of the mat. Relax. Let your body just sink into the floor. Wiggling fingers and toes. Relaxing the feet, relax the ankles. I can't find the shoes. Relax the calves and the knees, the thighs. Unclench the booty, soften the abs. Shoulder blades flat on the floor, palms up. Fingers and wrists are loose, elbows soft. Biceps and triceps relax. Taking a breath. And with your exhale, just let the chest and shoulders sink into the floor. Relaxing your face. Soften the lips, let your jaw fall back. Relax the eyes, let the eyeballs sink back. Keeping the breath nice and soft. Going through your body, see if you've grabbed hold of any tension and let it go with your breath. hips and ankles around. Draw the legs together, reach it overhead, give it a nice good stretch. Rolling it to your right side, bringing that up to seated. Finishing off with a nice cleansing breath. Spine is nice and straight, airways open. Exhale all the air out. Big inhale, both nostrils. And a big exhale. Namaste. I hope your back feels amazing. I hope when you stand up, your posture feels great and you feel great for the rest of the day. Have a good evening.